Hello, my name is Noboru Tanaka from Japan. So I have participated many times in person. Especially last year, I gave a presentation in Sweden. This year, I wanted to go to Istanbul, but I moved to the Kobe University, new university in April. Therefore, it is difficult for me to travel abroad immediately, and I could not participate in person this time. I'm sorry. Therefore, I will give up my presentation virtually. So, let's have start my presentation. The title is How Can Education Counter Social Division? A critical examination through P4C. P4C means Philosophy for Children and Democratic Education Perspectives. So this is the structure of my presentation. Today, I will explore how education can counter social division, focusing on philosophy for children. In a time of growing social fragmentation and surveillance, it's vital that education fosters dialogue and democratic participation. Citizenship education support this by nurturing critical thinking and engagement as emphasized by Paulo Freire and Nicholas Luhmann. P4C offered a practical method. It's built a community of inquiry where students listen, questioning, and reflect together. This strengthens their sense of agency and respect for others. Caring democracy at another dimension highlight empathy and responsibility. P4C reflect this by practicing care through dialogue and mutual respect. In short, education through citizenship education, P4C, and caring democracy can help build more inclusive and democratic society. So this slide is the background. Social division are growing fueled by distract and polarization. Bauman called this a surveillance society, where constant digital monitoring increasing anxious anxiety and fragmented societies. Education can unintentionally deepen divide by reinforcing inequity and competition. Apple warned education often acted as a sorting machine, maintaining social stratification. Nicholas Luhmann's theory shows isolating social system worse than fragmentation and broken understanding. To counter social division, education must address these challenges. Citizenship education fosters democratic values, critical thinking, and active participation. In today's divided and subverted society, the ability to engage in dialogue across differences is increasingly essential. Bernard Crick emphasized that citizenship education is not just about knowledge, but about developing the practical skills and responsibility needed for democratic life. Similarly, Paulo Freire, 1970s, described education as a practice of freedom, empowering learners to question and transform their world through dialogue and reflection. Nicholas Luhmann's system theory explained how modern society is fragmented into autonomous systems, making communication and mutual understanding more difficult. Education must therefore help learners build communicative competencies and critical literacy to navigate complexity and bridge social divides. This slide is P4C, the practice of democratic citizenship. P4C is deeply connected to democratic education. It promotes dialogue across differences, an essential skill in any democracy. Through P4C, students participate in a community of inquiry where they listen, question, and reason together. This approach encourages active participation, respectful deliberation, and appreciation of diverse perspectives. Importantly, it helps students develop a sense of agency, realizing their voices matter. Bista, Gert Bista, highlights that democratic education is more than just learning facts or skills. It's about engaging students in social process where they actively shape their community. P4C create exactly, exactly the kind of environment enabling students to experience democracy in action through dialogue and critical reflection. So fifth slide is about the caring democracy and social division. To address the roots of social division, we must think what democracy truly requires. Political theorist Trond argues that democracy depends on care, being attentive to others' needs, taking responsibility, and acting in solidarity. Care, in this sense, is not private but a civic act. This expands our idea of citizenship, not just voting or debate, but engaging with others ethically and compassionately. Noddings and Vista also stress that citizenship involves emotional and ethical learning. Thus, education should help students learn how to care as responsible and responsive members of shared society. This slide is what people see as a practice of caring democracy. In the community of inquiry, care is practiced, not just discussed. Students listen attentively, respond with empathy, and take responsibility for shared dialogue. These habits nurture civics and relation virtues essential for caring democracy. One based on the inclusion, solidarity, and ethical participation. Toronto's framework helps us see care as attentiveness, responsiveness, solidarity, and responsibility. These values guide students to become citizens who not only engage in democracy but care for others and the common good. So this is the sample, the classroom practice sample. This is history lesson for year 9. Lesson title is Developing of Industry and Shift in Shogunate Politics. So last Edo period in the Japanese history lesson. So the example of standard lesson is as follows. First is changing in industry and daily life. This is about 1 hour. The second lesson is shogunate reform and challenge, and this is about 1 hour. The third lesson is social instability for just 1 hour. So this presentation more focuses on the third lesson. But this is an example of a standard lesson. So in this lesson, the objective goes beyond simply acquiring historical knowledge. Students are encouraged to engage with curiosity and interest using historical events to critically examine the structure of today's society. The aim is to inspire reflection and help students revise their own ideas and values. Building on previous lessons, each student proposed the question they wish to explore. These questions were written on the blackboard, and though through a class vote, one question was selected for deeper inquiry. The chosen question was what kind of politics does not provoke public resentment? This question was that explored through the philosophy for children approach, allowing students to engage in thoughtful dialogue for a shared inquiry. This is a picture of the lesson. The student making a kind of circle, and one teacher facilitating the student dialogues. So this is the flow of the class was as follows. This is all of the same slide of that previous slide. So this presentation more focused on the philosophical inquiry. So this slide is what happening on the philosophical inquiry. In this P4C lesson, students explore the question what kind of politics does not provoke public resentment that I mentioned. The discussion began with the idea that politics always has both good and bad side. So resentment is unavoidable. Some responded that in a well-governed society with stability and order, resentment can be reduced. Others point out that resentment arises when citizens feel restricted. But if decisions are made with broad agreement, perhaps resentment can be avoided. The conversation, student conversation, student dialogue took a deeper turn. What does it mean for resentment to not exist? Could resentment actually be necessary? Students reflect that the freedom to express resentment may be a sign of healthy democracy. Trust in politics can grow when people are free to question it. In the end, students recognize that while politics involve rules and limits, it can also earn prize when shared values like justice and safety are upheld. So this approach transforms the history class. Instead of simply acquiring knowledge, students using historical content to explore broader social and political concepts. Through open dialogue, they began to consider the relationship between authority and the people. The question the nature of the public resentment, the meaning of political legitimacy, and the role of citizen voices in governance. Importantly, this explanation was not led by the teacher. It emerged from the students themselves. In doing so, they naturally connected historical understanding with current social issues like division and trust in politics. This is the conclusion. In conclusion, education holds significant promise in addressing social division by fostering dialogue, critical thinking, and democratic engagement. Education can help bridge gaps between diverse groups. Philosophy for Children provides a concrete method to cultivate respectful communication and empower students to find their voices. Meanwhile, citizenship education, drawing on insight of Paulo Freire and Nicholas Luhmann, prepared learners to understand and navigate the complexity of modern society as active democratic participation. Finally, the concept of caring democracy reminds us that empathy and relational responsibility are essential for building social cohesion. Together, these approaches suggest that education is not just about knowledge transmission, but about transforming society toward greater inclusion and democracy. References is that as follows. Thank you very much indeed. So next time I want to be in person, but so I'm not sure where next conference is held, but I want to be there in person. Thank you so much. My name is Noboru Tanaka. Please, if you have some wondering and comment and question, please let me by email. Thank you so much.